Okay, how we doing, everybody? Thank you so much for coming to the TOPS team project. This is another of our meetings. Uh, Today, we're going to be reviewing or continuing our review of the wildfire lesson for the disasters module. And here I will add it to the chat as well. So I'll give you a few links up there. So we're reviewing this kind of lesson on wildfires. It focuses on a Canadian wildfire for those of you who kind of began reading this. And essentially, the lesson uh, kind of draws on three data sets to study the same wildfire in Canada. So I know last time some of you already started reading some of this introductory, but as you get further down, especially when you start doing in the Jupyterhub, we can there'll be some code for you to learn how to access these data sets and how to use them. So far, does anybody have any questions? Okay, everybody was able to access the Jupyterhub and the review document. Great. So let me just check something here to make sure. Okay, so I believe this is in R. So we'll be, learning a little bit of R today. So once you get to here, there should be a top school project with R. Great. So everybody up to this point, and then you should, load. I would say 14 gigabytes is pretty good, and click start. So once your server gets started, um, it should open up kind of this R Studio environment. And if you have any questions about R Studio or how the environment works, let me know. And this takes a little bit of time. Yeah, so if anybody, while we wait, if anybody has any questions, any comments, now would be the time. Let me see if something's in the chat. Thank you, Camilla, for writing this on chat. So yeah, so just to give you some context of why we're doing this while we wait. Um, the goal of this project is to create these learning modules that are not only using open science, but or teaching a little bit of open science, but also practicing open science. So these part of the open science spirit is these meetings that we're having, so that we can get feedback from you, and that feedback get applied to these um, living documents essentially. So when you give us feedback, we'll have to review this feedback and then apply it to these GitHub documents and files so that these can be rendered with the updates. And this is kind of ultimately what a GitHub page looks like when you're using Quarto. What's great is that it renders a lot of things for you. You can add images, you can add code and print print some, you know, print the code and to see what it's doing, as well as provide some references in the bottom. And so, just for a preview, this is what it will look like. Once you get further down into the lesson, you'll start accessing data, um, and seeing how to use this data, how to use the colors and how to plot data. There is a part here where you're gonna need a kind of like a key. I can generate one, or and I can put it in the chat, or if you want to learn how to generate one, just let me know if you get up to that point. I know there's a part where it asks you for to generate a key. And the key is for the lesson to access the data. So you with this key is how you can access cloud data. It's just sometimes it just requires, you know, either NASA or the data provider requires at least this kind of minimal requirement to access the data. You know, some people can argue that even asking for that is, is a barrier. Um, but again, and if we want to talk about open science, how is that a barrier? Um, and so that's it's something that people have always commented on, but it's their policy sometimes for these data providers. So so yeah, in one of these data, that's the only hurdle. So you have to request a key. Yeah. So hopefully, what we do is that people or all the open science team will leave comments here. And so as they leave comments, we can then go into our GitHub. And this is since we're talking about disasters, we can go into our GitHub and we have the lesson that we're talking about, the wildfire assessment. And this is a Quarto file. So once you access this is essentially uh, what needs to then get updated with the suggestions. So there's kind of two steps to this. We've also gotten people that have made suggestions directly into the Quarto documents. Um, but you have to be comfortable with GitHub and you have to have access to make those changes. So I've sent out a few emails, as I mentioned, if you're comfortable doing that, if you like to use GitHub and you want to, contribute by making some changes directly to the course document, please let me know. Because we're actively updating these documents. But the challenge is that it takes a long time to read the comments and to determine, how to implement the comments and so we always try to find help to do that part as well. My Jupyterhub is just really slow. Is anybody experiencing issues?
It was very slow as well, but it has finally loaded. It did take a while though.
Okay.
It's still loading.
My Jupyter didn't give me the option to choose the top school of Project R and the 14 gig of RAM. Just locked me in directly to the R Studio server.
Okay.
So
Well, that's not a bad thing.
I don't know if it's the same or different from.
Yeah, I mean you should be okay. Even if you picked a lower one, it should still work. So
Yeah.
don't worry. It's just you know, it's almost like a preference, but and I don't think we're loading very large data sets in this lesson anyway. So
Okay.
um let me see if I can try a different window. No, it gives me the same thing. Um, would anybody care to share their screen just so I can give you some more just guidance, some quick tips? No worries if you feel uncomfortable. That's okay. But yeah, I mean, I guess we can we can just wait a little bit until this loads. Uh, hmm,
I was just telling Kit about this yesterday, but I read an article from 2I2C about them supporting like Binder Hub. So they may have shifted some of the servers that were like supporting this to that task because usually I feel
hmm,
like this spawns up pretty quickly, but I'm still not up yet. So I'll keep you
yeah,
posted.
yeah. So a few people I see that it's still loading for.
Yeah, if it was a desktop, you'd go slap the side of it a few times with your hand.
Let me try to
Maybe we can just
restart.
review some of the beginning text of the lesson in the Google Doc because there's quite a bit of text in there before you get to the coding section.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If your server is not running yet, in the meantime, please go to the document, and the introduction section has a lot of great information, just general information about fires and wildfires. Um, in the portal document, we've already started making some changes with citations and links, but these have not yet been update rendered. So we see some citations here, but this has not been rendered yet, so they're not present here. So we are working on the references, and most of this text is accurate based on those references. Oh yes, and then if you want to make suggestions, please use the suggesting mode so that your changes can be tracked more easily. Or if you prefer, highlight and uh, comment. You can comments or edits under suggestion mode are welcome. Okay, let me see what happened to my server because it's not going.
Mine says it's stopping now, so I think it gave up.
Oh, if any of you are, have any research papers that you want to contribute or that you've read on any of these topics, whether it's, wildfires or, you know, even open science references, please let us know. We have a Zotero that we keep track of all these references. Um, so yeah, I mean, we're just trying to get feedback from all of you as much as possible, and hopefully have your contributions.
I guess specifically like in the lessons, if you're reading some text that doesn't make sense, or if there's parts of the code that need more comments or that you feel like are unclear, like all of those things would be good things to highlight for us. I know there's like a lot of text there, a lot to get through, but if you just want to choose a section to look at too, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, Camilla, I see yours here is pending. And so is Miguel's and Young's. Not sure why those are those specific ones.
If
So yeah, I just wanted to pick your brains and see if anybody wanted to provide any feedback um on the lesson. I think this one was the 302 wildfires. Well, I think that I'll start. I think that maybe it needs more graphics or videos because and then some more clear divisions between sections or data sets. And then my last one would be the code chunks, some code chunks, not all of them. Some chunks are very long and could use more information. Okay. Anybody else have any feedback? Um, Young Song, can I put you on the spot? Ask for some feedback.
I thought we can deliver the better explain how we can obtain the API key because last session in our group there's a one person who was a kind of like having difficulty to find the information. So
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Christina, did you want to provide any feedback?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I think this is for the background section. It could be interesting to write a little bit about non-native plant species and wildfires. I know that was a big topic during the LA wildfires that a lot of their vegetation is not native, and so it can make wildfires spread more quickly. I think we could potentially write a little more about the API key, just like another sentence or two to clarify a little further. I also agree that more graphics and videos would be useful to break up the text, especially at the start.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Julian, any last thoughts? I don't know if you're still there or Miguel. I saw you come off
Yeah.
mute if you wanna. Yeah.
Uh, So for after some going over some like sections, I feel like some citations or reference will be helpful just in case. I know some people like to once they look at a like a little evidence,
Hmm.
some people would like to go into the specific article and just look over the article and read more about it. Also shows like, just to show the users or the viewer like the readers a sense of like the data is not like made up. I don't know if that makes sense. Like it's reliable basically. And I
Yeah, yeah,
also agree with the like adding like just images like or examples of the like disaster just to like break up the like I don't know who said it, but break up the like the sections. If
right.
that
Gotcha. Sounds good.
Something
Julian, I
else
don't
I
know if
was
you're
thinking,
still there. Oh yeah,
sorry.
please go ahead. No, no, go
Oh,
ahead.
something I was thinking also that would help break up the sections would just be to add some like more reflection questions. I was thinking, I don't know how you all feel about like suggesting like time to take a break. Like, this is the end of the section. Like, if you're feeling tired, like maybe step away or just like have time for reflection via questions.
Yeah,
It would also be useful for us to know how long you think it
mhm.
might take you to get through the lesson. If you guys have any thought, I know you only had time to work through parts of it today, but maybe if you skim over the whole length of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and then I feel like I went through it, pretty fast, and even just the first section took me like, 15, 20 minutes. So it is long, but yeah, adding the times would help. Um, for me or Julian, did you want to add any other comments or Kit before we call it a day?
I was just maybe thinking of enhancing the aesthetics of maps to
Hmm.
maybe better fit the data.
Can you be a little bit more specific? Like in terms of the wildfires, like you think that they weren't really showing up too much, or they were just blending?
Um,
Like here, let me pull one up. Like uh there's this one. I don't know if you can see that.
yeah, so to me that looks kind of how can I say basic. I feel like there's like better ways of improving these maps, and I just uh, well, I don't know a lot about what people were thinking when making these maps, so I just feel like there's better ways to improve them,
Gotcha. Yeah.
and that's just my opinion.
No, it's good feedback, Julian. I think that, we have opportunities in the capstone to make improvements, even if we don't revise these maps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that feedback. Julian had a great question on how to add references. If you want to give feedback on references, or if there is a reference that you want to suggest, let me pull it up really quick. I don't know if you can still see my screen. Um, but I would suggest the best way is probably a comment. So if there are some like if, for example, you want to suggest a citation here that you already found, just add a comment with it. And my suggestion is that the best comments or the best references have DOI numbers, because that is for us, that is the kind of the quickest way for us to, with the DOI, you can just grab all the metadata and create a very quick citation through Zotero. So that's why we like to use those. So for example, so once you leave a comment here with like a DOI, sorry guys, give me 1 second. Just want to show you this really quick before we go. So say you added a DOI here, and we can search one really quick on wildfires. So if we check this out here, usually they'll have this DOI number or URL. So if you want, you can just go here and put it here if you want. So what we do with this DOI is that then we go over to Zotero and we have this group library that we use. And then since we're talking about disasters and wildfires, you click here and then you can, with your DOI, or if you have an ISBN number or all these other kind of codes, you can just type it in here and then press enter. And then it should create an entire entry. And you can see here on the right side that has everything all the information that you need for a citation. And then once you have that, you can create bibliographies and create citations that we use with Zotero to build those libraries. Yeah. And then I'll show you one more thing. Once you go to GitHub, this is how you kind of add them to your, oh man, sorry everybody, I'm having there we go. Disasters. So for the GitHub, for the Quarto documents, you have an accompanying references bib document. So this is how Quarto reads these references. And so each one has this is an entry. And so we have a bunch of entries that, as I mentioned, we haven't added them into the pages, but we're working on them. And so to reference this page in the Quarto document, you see here it says bibliography, and it references that file there. And then the way that you reference it is like this. It's in between brackets, and you put the tag that is back in the bibliography file. You'll have these tags that you put on each one, and then you can refer to them like this. Once you click render, once you hit Quarto render, it refers to both of these files to create the pages. And then you can see here in the bib file, these are the tags that you create. So each one has a tag, this purple text. All right, everybody. So we've gone over a little bit. Thank you so much, everybody, for your help. And again, if you're comfortable with GitHub, let me know, because as I showed you, there's a lot of changes and stuff that need to be implemented. So, if you want to use this time to instead contribute some more to the Quarto document, instead of, the Google Docs, that helps a lot too. So just let me know. And if you want to suggest a lesson, if you're an expert in some sort of subject, we're always welcoming new lessons as well. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend.